Hey gang, Coach Phil Houston here from CoachPhilHouston.com and the 4-Pillar Fitness Podcast, and I am on both audio and video today with Joe Pepe from he's from Jersey, but he's outside of Philadelphia, and we're going to be talking all things TKO and a whole bunch of other cool stuff that Joe's got going on. But real quick first, just remember, if you're listening to us on iTunes right now, drop me a 5-star rating. Let people know that there's some value in this podcast, and hopefully you think there is too. And don't forget, EFPS, Elite Fitness Performance Summit, is coming up very, very soon, within the next week or so, actually, in Indianapolis, September 14th to 15th. And I will be there speaking with a bunch of other smarter people than me. So come out and heckle me, definitely. And then the last thing but not least, Activate is going to be going on October 25th to the 28th in Phoenix, Arizona. The link is on my website. Go check it out. Get signed up for that. It's a fitness conference unlike anything you've ever seen or been to. And if you don't know about it, you need to know about it. And if you don't know why you need to know about it, you want to be there to find out why. So that's a really cool thing to be at. So with that said, like I said, I'm here on the podcast today with Joe Pepe from what town are you from, Joe? I know you're outside Philly.
No, I'm actually inside of Philly. I'm South Philadelphia, down by the stadiums.
South Philly. Joe Pepe from South Philly. Hey, yo, how you doing? All right.
Yeah.
You got in Don Marrera neighborhood, aren't you?
Yeah. You're South Philly. You get all the Rocky references and everything comes to you with that. But I love it, so I'm cool with it.
I'm a little more advanced than that. I get the Don Marrera, Big Petey, Little Petey, Joey Bag of Donuts references.
Oh, look, yeah. They work too. I get a lot of Tony Danza just because of how I look. So it's a lot of Tony Danza for me.
Jeez, I didn't see it. I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, now I see it. There we go.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let Joe. Joe's a TKO contestant, and if you haven't seen that yet, it's the more badass version of American Ninja Warrior for sure. They got it going on right now, and it's a really cool show. I did get a chance to see some of the episodes, caught some of the stuff on YouTube and some of the clips that are out there. It is crazy stuff, really cool. Joe Pepe, tell us who you are, tell us what you're about, and what you got going on, brother.
All right. So like you said, I'm a TKO contestant. I'm actually one of the winners. And at the moment, I have the fastest time on the course ever. And while doing all this, I also write for Men's Fitness. I write for Men's Health. I help run a corporate fitness company that works with major corporations to build up their health and wellness. I run my own fantasy football page called Pepe's Picks because I am a huge football nerd. I am all over the place these days. I feel like I'm doing a lot of stuff, but honestly, I am a born and raised South Philadelphia kid. A lot of people don't realize that I actually named the Eagles mascot. So I have a connection to my favorite football team in history. Yeah. It's a crazy story. And I actually came in second place for naming the Sixers' old mascot. So I guess I have a talent for naming mascots. I need to figure out how to make money out of that. But yeah, I'm just bouncing around, doing my thing. I love health and wellness. I love to run the obstacle course races. And I'm just trying to do my thing and, knock off as many things as possible on that bucket list of life.
You got stuff on your bucket list that most people wouldn't even think of, like naming mascots. I mean, that's not something I would think of. Most people think about, fly to Thailand, go to Paris, I don't know, buy a boat, whatever. You're naming mascots, brother. That's
cool.
I'm
all about like crazy things. Like if I don't want to be like 75, 80 years old and saying what if about something. So I take every and anything possible. Like I've been on TMZ Live before. Right now, I'm actually working with Mark Wahlberg and the movie Mile 22 for a social media fitness challenge. I'll be in the future working with a couple different companies. At the moment, obviously, can't speak about it until it's all said and done. But yeah, anything I could do, something that just gives me that memory, something that, allows me to say like, yeah, I've done this. Yeah, I've done that. Yeah, I have this really cool story about when I met, Britney Spears that time I used to work security. Like there's all those little crazy things, but I tell people I'm a Z-list celebrity. So I do a lot of stuff. Yeah, I do a lot of cool, fancy stuff, but nobody ever cares.
That's funny. I think you may have just named this episode TKO and the Z-list. I haven't heard that one yet. That's good. So this is some amazing stuff. So I've got to know, if for all of my fantasy football fans out there that probably all three of you who listen to this podcast, tell me who is going to be the highest scoring fantasy pick for the coming season?
I'm going to let you know right now. And it's not the hardest idea or like the craziest pick I'm going to give you right now, but it's Le'Veon Bell. He's coming into that contract year, you know how he's having all these issues with the Steelers back and forth. This is probably the last year that he's with the Steelers. So as an organization, they might as well run him into the ground. Like, it doesn't matter to them. So they're going to hand that ball off. They're going to dump that ball off. And he's already up there in the top 3 for players that score. So you might as well get somebody who's trying to earn that next big contract and watch as the Steelers run him into the ground for the year.
You just broke my wife's heart because she's a Steelers fan.
Oh.
Well, on the one hand, if they run him to the ground, they're probably going to win a bunch of games, so they'll get in the playoffs, and that'll be cool. She'll like that. But,
Exactly.
but I can't argue with that, man. He's a stud. There's no question about it. And he's got all the tools, right? He has all the tools as a running back. So
he's the most patient running back I've seen since Barry Sanders. He could just like sit back there. He bounces around a little bit, and then all of a sudden, bam, 8-10 yards, bam, 12 yards, bam. He's always hitting the perfect hole. He's got a great IQ. I wish the Steelers were smart enough to pay the man, but it's business, so it is what it is.
Agreed. I think the thinking in the NFL anymore is there's a constant flow of these guys coming out of college, coming out of wherever, but there really isn't. Not when you have exceptional players. Not like that, right? I mean, there aren't 20 Tom Brady's in college right now. You know what I mean? There aren't 20 Le'Veon Bells in college right now. There just aren't. So I agree with you. They should be paying the guy for sure. No doubt about that. So thank you, Def. So there you go, guys. Get Le'Veon Bell first in your draft, and he'll be good for the year. Then you can draft whoever, San Diego's next quarterback. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. It doesn't even matter after that. Just get that one guy.
You're good, exactly. In fact, you don't even need anybody else. You could trade everybody else away for money and just spend the year winning games with Le'Veon Bell. So
yeah, exactly. You're set.
If it were so, I could probably do that. I got to tell you, I've played fantasy football a few times. I am god awful at it. I usually draft really, really well in the beginning, and then make some of the worst trades. They look like great trades on the face of them, and then I get a guy on my team, and he gets hurt. I'm the kiss of death. I really am.
Yeah. All right. Well, you draft the team, and then tell me who you drafted, so I don't take them.
Good. Well, I draft really well. The guys I trade away have great seasons. You trade them away and they play great. It's just that the guys I get for them are like, it's like a 3-legged horse. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, and listen, it's crazy. Like with fantasy football, and this is why I love it so much, is that it takes such strategy. You actually have to do your math, do your homework. You have to learn about these players, strength of schedule, who's good in the dome, who's not. Like you have to figure out these little things, and you think I'll just pick the best available. And that seems to work for my girlfriend every time that she does it. But
Maybe
she
should run a page.
Magical power. Yeah, right. She should be running the page instead. But you have to do your homework. So it's definitely something that it's fun. It's enthralling. It gives you something to do, and it lets you enjoy players from another team.
That's awesome. Awesome. It's there's a lot of players out there. There aren't a lot of guys who are analyzing stuff for other players. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So people like to think they can, but I think it takes a certain kind of mindset, a certain analytical mind to be able to say all the things you just said, to know all those things and be able to put them into action. So really, really cool stuff there. So talk to me a little bit about and everybody wants to hear about TKO, Joe. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to hear you're the winner, and I'm sorry, I knew that, and I kept saying competitor right up front.
That's fine. I'm not worried about it.
Joe's the winner, boys and girls. Okay, he's not just a competitor. So right now he is the TKO badass. No question about that. So
I'll take that.
Yeah, hey, why not? Everybody sees, like we were just saying before we started recording, and this I think is the case with every athlete. I work with some professional athletes and some high level athletes, and what everybody sees on the outside is that shiny exterior, right? That golden kind of glow about that athlete when they win or even when they lose sometimes, but just this great effort, this amazing opportunity to win. What they don't get to see, right, all the time, all of that rusty stuff on the inside that you got to work through, right?
Yeah.
And the physical side is one thing, and there seems to be an OCR gym on every corner these days. It seems like it anyway. But some great, some not so great, some just fun, right?
Yeah.
But what goes on for you as a contestant, and then eventually obviously a winner, like emotionally, intellectually, like what happens on the other side of that equation when you're getting ready, as you're training and preparing for this event?
So I mean, there's all those things, and it's funny, like you said, like right before I get into the emotional with the whole OCR gym, what a lot of people don't realize is I don't go to any of those gyms. I actually go to a gym called Sweat Fitness. It's one of the best in Philly, but it is a normal gym. Like, it is not like, OCR. There's not rock climbing everywhere. It has its equipment. It has its track. It has all that stuff. But like
Well,
you said,
you're never going to win like that, Joe.
oh yeah, I'll
You're
never
never
have
going
a
to win.
chance to.
Yeah, no
I'll never
chance
have
at
a
all.
chance. Yeah. But people don't realize that if you build your program correctly, you can do it anywhere. And that's part of like this whole emotional, mental. There's a game plan you have to build behind the scenes. You can't just go run in, do 10, 100 push-ups, 100 pull-ups, all this stuff, like just because you saw it on somebody's video and be like, okay, I can go win TKO, I can go win any of these shows. It's not that. This, to win one of these things, the level of determination, the level of competition you have, not with others but with yourself, has to be at an all-time high. Now, I am an extremely competitive person. Like, we could shoot paper balls into the trash can and I want to win. It's just who I am. But I'm competitive with myself. Like, there was days during this training where I go to like do a deadlift and I couldn't hit a certain number that I was looking for and I get pissed. I go to do pull-ups or a dead hang from the bar so that I wouldn't fall, which ended up coming in handy during my run. And I couldn't do it and my hands were hurting and my legs were hurting and everything would hurt. And you kind of have to be able to push past that. And there's a quote that my training kind of centers all around, and it's from Will Smith, and that's he's a pretty big fitness person.
Absolutely.
But he said something when I was younger, and it just stuck in my head. And it's like, hey, if I'm on a treadmill and you get on the treadmill next to me, you're either getting off first or I'm gonna die. And that's kind of, and it's stuck in my head. So I'm going all out and I'm going to win, or you're going to have to take me off the course because I'm destroyed, I'm broken, I'm dead. And it takes that, because there's going to be hard days, there's going to be easy days. It's going to flood, it's going to ebb and flow for you. But you have to have that mentality that, like, I just need to be a little better than I was yesterday. Each day, if I can get better, I can be better than everybody else.
That's fascinating, because people, when you see events like this that are time-based, right, where you've got to be the fastest, and not only do you have to do some amazing things, you've got to be a real, like we said, real stud athlete. You've got to be able to do some amazing things, but you've got to be able to do them in competition against time.
Yeah.
People don't often think about progressive improvement in a situation like that. They think all at once.
Yeah.
Right? So talk to me a little bit about your training, the training itself. So kind of what you were doing to get ready to kind of translate those strength and power skills or athletic skills into sort of these very specific, right? I mean,
yeah,
let's face it, these
super
are very
specific
skill set, right? So
yeah,
the gym generally is a fairly general athletic skill set, and I tell parents this all the time. And then that sport training starts to narrow it down and hone it. What had to happen for you? Like, what things did you do to translate your generalized athletic training into that OCR specific, TKO specific type of skill set?
So the very first thing everyone needs to know is that you have no idea what you're walking into. So it's not like they give you a list of like obstacles and stuff and you're like, oh, I could train for this by doing this. You have no idea. You see the course that day, you run the course that day. So leading up to this, it was kind of like, all right, I got to hit everything. And I knew from the days that I played minor league soccer that, like, that clock in your body is going to be running faster. Your heart's going to be beating faster. You're going to be more tired faster. Your cardio is going to die out faster. So I tried to push my limits. There was a lot of Tabata training. There was a lot of like, go to this move and superset it with that move. So I'm just constantly moving. And my biggest thing that I was a big fan of was my back and my forearms, because I said, like, if I'm about to fall off an obstacle, I need to be able to hold on so I can win. I need to be able to pull myself back up. And if anybody watched on the third obstacle, I almost fall off one. And if it wasn't for all the pull-ups, the back training, the forearm dead hangs, like everything like that, I would have went right into that pit. I would have gained another minute or so on my time and I would have lost. So it's hard to train for these things because you don't really know what's coming. And it's funny because as much as I had a game plan, like, oh, I'll be okay, because like my nickname since I was a kid was Superman, because I have a really fast 40-yard dash. I could still run it in 4.3. So I was like, okay, I'm going to sprint through this course. And then that first dodgeball smacks off the glass at like 65 miles per hour. And you're like, oh crap, I don't remember anything I wanted to do. And you just kind of like zone out a little bit. But yeah, the training is a lot of fast pace, a lot of movement, a lot of core work, and then a lot of pull-ups and hanging from bars. Because I knew if I fell, I wanted to give myself that second chance.
And how did you condition yourself mentally and emotionally to prepare for both possibilities, right? The possibility of winning, obviously, which I'm sure in your head you were going to win. You know, I don't doubt that. But what did you do for the possibility of having things, or did you just not do it? Was there a thought process for you like that?
Yeah, so I do a thing every day, like regardless for work, whatever, where it's visualization. And it's me like for a minute or two each morning, just sitting there, absolute quiet, nothing going on, and me visualizing what I'm going to do. So I don't ever visualize the negative. And the reason being is if I start visualizing, let's just take the course, for example, me falling in obstacle one, me getting hurt here, me doing this, I feel like it tends to happen because I've like mentally programmed it. So now I just mentally program like me sprinting across those spinners, me dodging the dodgeball, me walking across the beam. And I spent that entire morning, again, not having a clue what the obstacles were, but me completing those obstacles, me finishing, me speeding through the course, and me winning the entire show because that's what I wanted to happen. So I only visualize what needs to happen.
So when you visualize, so a lot of people, when they talk about visualization, they talk about including the emotional component, right? Feeling the emotions of what happened. So was that part of your visualization also?
Yeah. So, you know, you could visualize winning, but you have to visualize like that happy feeling you get on the inside. You know, are you going to be excited? Are you going to, you know, break down and cry? Like you got to visualize it all. And that doesn't mean like game plan, like, oh, I'm good. If I win, I'm going to go high five Kevin Hart and I'm going to go high five this. Like, because again, you get in that moment, you don't even remember what you do, but you have to visualize that happy feeling, that ability to have that confidence in yourself. Like all those emotions, you do have to visualize that as well, because it helps make that moment more real in your head. And as real as you can make that moment is the most necessary thing you should do in visualization, because the more real that feels, the better chance of it happening in reality.
That's pretty awesome. Now, just for curiosity, did the actual moment feel like what you visualized?
No. So like, again, you have no idea what's going on. And if anyone saw the show, they saw that they brought out the Eagles mascot. So all of a sudden it's completely changed because I didn't know they were doing that. And I'm standing there with Kevin Hart and they have the other contestant who could have possibly beaten my time. And I'm standing there and they're like, oh, if you win, you should do this or you should do that. And then I win. And I just remember running into the crowd and hugging the mascot and forgetting that there's a person in there. And he's like, congratulations. And I got like all scared and I like jumped back because like I'm thinking it's like a giant eagle. And after that, I don't remember anything. And people were saying that like I ran up and down. I was high-fiving people. I saw somebody who had a sign for me. So like I ran into the crowd to thank them for that because I didn't even know who they were, but they were like my fan. So I thought that was awesome. So yeah, it never equals out because first off, you don't think you're gonna have fans. Like nobody, like I said, I'm a C-list celebrity. Nobody knows who the hell I am. So like to see somebody hold a sign like Joe, yeah, we're rooting for you, stuff like that. I'm like, oh, that's freaking awesome. But yeah, it's nothing like you visualize.
That's amazing. It's I was curious about that because you always wonder like, is it possible to visualize and to inject enough emotion into that visualization to appreciate what it's actually going to feel like, right? And I have I've worked with some like I said, I've worked with some pro athletes, and Todd Frazier was a client of mine a number of years ago.
Oh, cool.
I trained him the year before he won the home run derby. So yeah, I asked him the same question. I said, did winning feel like what you thought it would feel like? And he said, kind of along the same lines of what you said. He said, you can't even imagine. Like you're there in the stadium, and all of a sudden you've won. And his both of his brothers and his mom and dad were there, and like everybody was there. It was just this giant family fest, and it was just like they were just going nuts, right? And then all of a sudden, it had to be over because he had to go be professional baseball Todd Frazier again. Right? So it's kind of interesting to see that. And then I'm wondering, did that happen for you too? Like, did all of a sudden it was over and you had to start being, this professional guy again?
Yeah. So it's a little weird because because like the way I was visualizing it and making the feeling feel better for me was what I was going to do with that money, the college fund I was going to start for my nephew, the vacation I was going to take my girlfriend on, like the little investments I wanted to put with the money, stuff like that. And you get all this, like, it's a great, 20 minutes, everyone's cheering, everyone's freaking out, everything's good. And then, you're done. The show's over. You got to go home. I have a job. I have life to live. I came home to like all my bills, and I'm like, oh man, like, you got to go back to being yourself. So it's fun because I got to ride the high a little bit longer with interviews from like you and like CBS and stuff like that. But yeah, no, it's a quick switch. It's like a light switch for your room, on off, and that's what it is. You're on, you're at this adrenaline high, and then you drop. And I slept so much after that show because I was telling people it kind of reminded me of when I jumped out of a plane because my adrenaline spiked so high, and then all of a sudden it's like
Just
done,
don't.
and it just dropped off, and I just remember being asleep for what felt like 7 years.
That's fun. That's funny. That's funny. You don't think about that stuff either, right? So that's a great example of the connection between the emotional and physical sides of things. And you get so high, and you get pushed so high by adrenaline, and it's gone.
Yeah,
and then
it was the craziest feeling, man. Because like at that point, I felt like I could have like ran so fast I could break the time barrier, and then afterwards, you couldn't push me out of bed if World War III was happening. So,
wow. So, I think we have a pretty good idea what the highest moment was for you in this entire journey. That's pretty easy to figure out. What was the lowest point for you? Like, where was there ever a time, or what was that time like when you were just like, you know what? I ain't got it. I'm done, or whatever. You tell me.
Yeah. So funny that you mentioned that, because a couple people have asked me this question, and I told them it actually happened right before it was my turn to do the course. If you're watching the show, you see the contestants up on the top. There's like 4 of us lined up there, and they're basically like, okay, you're next. And you see my face, and you just see every bit of like depression, nerves, I can't do it, all crept into my head 2 minutes before I had to run. And so, a couple people have asked me like, what did you do? And I just repeated like my big thing with my clients, with everybody, is know your why. So my why was, I'm doing this for my nephew, I'm doing this for my girlfriend, I'm doing this for the people in Philadelphia, so that I could show that I am who I am, and I promise you I could do this stuff. Like, I had to remind myself over and over again. I just remember, like, I kept saying my nephew's name in my head. I kept saying my girlfriend's name in my head. I just kept giving myself my reasons why, because it was, and it's kind of funny now, like after I watch it, but you watch my face, like in a snap, just go from like, yeah, this is so great, to, oh crap, it's my turn, and it all just like blows up in your head, and all the negative thoughts just rush in. And that was my only way to block it off. So that was my lowest moment. And it was legit 2-3 minutes before it was my turn.
So rather inconvenient, don't you think?
Yeah. And it sucks. So that's why I tell people, like, visualize every day, every single day of your life, even if it's just mundane stuff. Like, I'm going to do the chores, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Because if I didn't practice this every day, and then that happened to me on the show, I think it would have overcame me.
That's powerful right there. So for those of you listening at home, and what's funny, Joe, is you say that, and I didn't see that. So I saw, I watched the episode, and granted, I had to kind of watch it while I was doing some other things, but I wanted to see what this was all about, how it went for you, and the whole thing. I saw that scene you're talking about, but I didn't see that on you, and that's what's so weird, right? So it's interesting how for those of us watching at home, we're watching kind of the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
So we don't see that. So I don't know if that makes you feel better or worse. Oh, nobody noticed. Wow.
Well, it's funny because, like, I had a viewing party with all my friends, and we're out and we're watching. They're all like, "Oh my God, you're next. And my girlfriend, she walks up to me. She's like, "You okay?" I'm like, and I'm the only one that saw like how stupid I looked right there, because I looked like I wanted to throw up. And she's like, "Oh yeah, I didn't even notice that." So trust me, it's not just you.
Okay.
Apparently, you just, like, when you're on TV, I guess you like remember things, and you notice, like, oh, look at that facial expression, like stuff like that.
Well, you probably know this already. So I do some video content. So whenever I shoot a video, like I shot one yesterday, and I put it up on my YouTube. It was actually the very first YouTube video I put up on my personal channel. So I'm pretty proud of that. I'm an older guy. I don't have that kind of technological know-how yet. But whenever I shoot a video, even if it's for the IYCA or Activate or whoever, I will watch that thing 5 times, 6 times, looking for anything that I don't like.
Yeah.
I could be absolutely killing the message. I could be drop dead awesome everywhere else. If I got a hair out of place or my glasses were unlevel or
you hate it.
crap like that, I'm like, oh man, really? That's it? So I kind of get it's not the same thing. It's really not.
I totally get that.
But I get it, man. I understand what you're saying. Because you look at it again and everybody else is like, wow, it was really great, man. Really great, and it's crazy. We shoot the mandatory minutes out at Activate. Jeremy Scott. And I do one every year, and every single year I hate it. and he posts, and people are like, that was so great, so great. And I'm like, I suck. Look at me. I look like an idiot. You know what I mean? But
it's so funny that you find that, like, because I'm the same way. I find like that laundry list of things I did wrong, and it's like, why did I blink like that? Why did I even like turn this way? Who does this? Like, and you just break yourself down so much, and everybody else is like, that was amazing. What are you talking about? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't like it. Like,
it's just, I think it's more evidence, and certainly in your situation, you're on a national stage, right? So people are seeing you and are being inspired, and if Joe, if you don't think people were inspired by what you did, I hope you understand that there are millions of people out there who are looking at this and saying, man, this is awesome. If he can do that, then I can handle this over here, right? And parents look at their kids going, hey, see, you can do anything you want, right? And again, it doesn't matter. They don't see what came before. They don't see all the work and all the struggle and the day-to-day and making time for everything and finding a way to get it all in. They don't see any of that. But on the flip side of that is that massive level of inspiration, right? That comes from a guy from South Philly going out and blowing his thing up, right? And that's a cool thing. So it's important. And I think that happens for people. We forget that. People who, and I don't really consider myself an influencer, but for people who are involved in inspiring and motivating people, we forget that so many times we've done the job already, and they've already accepted that, and we're back there criticizing ourselves.
Yeah. No, listen, I appreciate that, because like, I didn't think that way. I was like, like somebody asked if I felt like I inspired someone. I was like, not really, but within the first couple of weeks of the episode coming out, I can't even give you the amount of numbers of people who have sent me pictures on Instagram or something, like through like my direct messaging, like, hey, I signed up for the fitness center, or hey, look at my daughter doing this thing. And it's just like, it's really cool. Like, I never thought that I could have that impact. And I like that whole ripple effect where if I could do one positive thing, it could lead to a positive event that could lead to another and another, and I could possibly have a legacy before I leave.
Absolutely. And that's really what it's all about, right? It's Paul Theo likes to say, one of the mottos at his gym, Fit Me Up in Ohio, it's not about us, or it's not about me technically, but it's not about us. So INAM, INAM is one of their acronyms, and Paul is very much about that, right? What we leave behind, what we do, what we get other people to be inspired to do, is what we're supposed to be focusing on, right? And that's so for you, man, definitely the show was awesome, and you crushed it, and people are motivated and inspired by it. And if you're getting those messages on Instagram, man, just be grateful for it. It's
an awesome feeling. Anytime I like something bad goes wrong at work, I just kind of like scroll back to it. I'm like, oh, this is fantastic, like
it's the bad mood tonic, right? So when things are not going well, so that's cool. So what's next for you, man? What's next on the horizon?
So I mean, there's still the battle royale of TKO, so I get a chance to possibly run again for another $100,000 on top of the 50,000. Which again, if I get into that, I'm gonna put everything out there and hope that I can win. And if I get an extra $100,000, then that's more that's going to my nephew. I'll take another trip probably, because I'm gonna have money for a vacation. So I want one vacation out of it. But outside of that, I mean, I'm continuing to write for these magazines. I'm working on that fantasy stuff, but I'm actually in the midst of writing a couple of fitness books. One for adults, for the type of world that I'm in with corporate fitness. It's all these people, and they're ex-athletes. They were all active as they were younger, but then they get in this 9-to-5 job, and they have to sit around all day, and they lose it. So I'm writing a book that's about recapturing that inner athlete, about how to do the workout correctly, how to program it, how to fit it into your lifestyle. And it's going to have multiple workouts in it. So if you can only do 3 days, you go to that chapter. If you can only do 4 days a week, you go to that. And it's to program you to get you that foundational strength, to get you back that motivation, to get you back that strength, to get you back everything, to remind you of who you were and show you that you can still do this even though you're busy.
That's really cool stuff, man. And I think that's something that's very necessary in the world right now, right? It's people are very stressed. They're time compressed. We know that about that. And that corporate world, man, it's easy to forget about fitness.
Oh yeah, trust me, they forget it all the time. And I'm like, where'd you go, man?
Probably forget it on a daily basis. I was supposed to be there, and I forgot. So I understand that for sure. So that's exciting. So now you mentioned you have a girlfriend, you got stuff going on there. What's Joe's personal life like?
Joe's personal life, he spends as much time as he can with his girlfriend first. This way she doesn't yell at me later. But yeah, no, she's amazing. She's probably one of the best things that has happened to me in the past year. But if I'm not with her, I'm with my friends. And I've had my friends since the first grade. And it's amazing. We're one of them groups that like life didn't pull us apart. So we're constantly talking. We're constantly, talking sports because we're a bunch of guys. So that's what we do. And we spend as much time as we can together. We throw Christmas parties together, Halloween parties. We're actually going away to watch the Eagles play the Titans in September. So we try to do as much as possible. And that's my goal. I'm either with my girlfriend, I'm with my friends, or I'm playing with my nephew because I have an obsession. It's a little hard to see it from here, but I got a tattoo for him because I never thought that, like, everybody knows me. I'm highly confident. And I used to tell people I love myself. And then I held him for the first time, and that was it. I no longer cared about me. I cared about making sure everything was perfect for him. So I try to, as much as I physically can, because they live in Delaware, to get down there and play with my nephew Oliver.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah, you mentioned that you've had friends, this group of friends since first grade. There's not a lot of people who can say that.
Okay? Yeah, no, we're unique.
Yeah, I'm really. I won't say I'm jealous, but I'm really happy for you. I try not to be jealous of people. I mean, it's not. Yeah. But I am really happy for you because that's an amazing thing. So, if you don't mind, and I'm just going to kind of pry a little bit here.
Yeah.
Tell my listeners, tell our audience a little bit about what that means for you, and what you think it means for people to have a group of friends that have been together and known each other for that long. Because everybody has friends, we all have friends, right? But that's a different kind of friendship, right? That's and it's a group of you, so it's it's not a gang, it's a club, right? I mean, it's but tell people like what that means for you and what you think the value is for people to have friendships that have been that long and that deep.
So, like you said, it's a gang. We're basically a family. We're all brothers, and like the girlfriends that are in the group, like they're our sisters. Like it's a big family, and especially in this day and age where like, oh, I have 50,000 followers on Instagram. They're all my friends. They're not. Your friends are the people that are there for you, and it's amazing the support system I have because I've had them for so long. They're my biggest critics, but they're my best fans at the same point. I have a certain friend, and a shout out to Dan Stu, who loves to torture me for everything I do. But if I didn't have him torturing me, I wouldn't have that person who I basically want to come back and be like, hey, Dan, I just won the show. What do you have to say now? And he knows he's that person for me. Like, we all know how to support each other in the correct way. And it's an amazing thing. And if you can get at least one person like that in your life, then you're pretty set. Now, I'm very lucky, like you said, to have a bunch of them. Like there's about 8 to 10 of us that are this way. But if you can have one person that no matter what happens, like the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, to be by your side and support you, then that's life. That's one of the best things you could ever get in life. That's basically like a definition of love in a sense. And I love every one of my friends. And as much as I tell them I hate them because they beat me in fantasy or they torture my soul, I do love them. So, if they are watching, hi guys.
You should make them play your girlfriend in fantasy. Apparently she's good.
Dude, she would probably win. That's and that would piss us all off because like she doesn't like she's like, oh, Tom Brady's cute.
Well, it's hard to argue. I mean, when you think about it, these answers.
I can't get mad. It's just, when I shell out the amount of money I shell out every year for fantasy, and then she just jumps in and wins it. I'm like, son of a b. Like,
it's a good thing you have those friends, Joe. It really is.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm a lucky guy for them, for my family. Like I lucked out in that sense.
That's great, and thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So couple quick things, and then we'll kind of wrap things up and let you get on with your day. So we really haven't talked a whole lot about fitness, except for what you're doing and what you do to get ready for the show. But just real quickly, so you're working in corporate wellness. You're dealing with adults. What do you think is their biggest challenge that they're not aware of?
So their biggest challenge that they're not aware of is, again, it kind of goes back to that whole book idea. They don't know that they should be getting up every so often. They don't realize that, like, hey, maybe every hour I should get up and just walk around the office, just move a little bit, stretch a little bit. There's so many people that come down and their shoulders are slumped forward because they're typing all day on the computer and they don't have the computer set up correctly, and their hips hurt because they're sitting in that chair all day. So that's the biggest thing. And they're like, I don't know why my body hurts so much. And I'm like, all right, let's come over here. Let's here's 3 to 5 stretches you'll do. Like, here, we're going to open up your hips a little bit. I want you to do this every day for me for 5 minutes, total. All this stuff together, 5 minutes total. And that 5 minutes could change their lives. And when they start doing it, it always happens. 2 weeks later, I get that email oh my God, I don't hurt. I actually can be at my desk. I don't feel miserable all day unless their boss sucks, but I can't help them there. Yeah. But they're, it's amazing that they don't realize that. And then they don't realize how important it is to still hydrate, even though you're not doing a lot during the day. Most of them come down, how much water do you have? They're like, I don't know, maybe a bottle. I'm like, and you've been up for 10 hours. That's all you've drank. This is going to help you mentally. It's going to help you physically. So I'm always stressing on hydration.
Awesome. Thank you for that. That's really awesome. So Joe, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you being on with me today. This is
anytime.
And I'll definitely have you back when you win the next round for sure.
Sounds good.
That. So this is the happy hour version of the podcast. So I generally throw 2 bonus round questions at my guests, and here's the way it works. I'll ask the question, and as soon as I'm done, you'll have 30 seconds to answer. You can, and again, off the cuff, just let her fly.
All right.
First one, and I'll give you. It's a question that has you have 2 choices. You can answer either question. Okay.
Okay.
I do this because I don't want to be sexist. Tell our audience in 30 seconds or less, who is your favorite superhero, or who is your favorite Disney princess and why?
Okay, this is super easy. My nickname's been Superman since I was a kid, so I am definitely going with Superman. I mean, the whole being about hope is what makes me love Superman. Yeah, he's strong, he's fast, he's great, but he gives hope to other people. Now I'm going to fit in the other one too. Disney princess, I'm obsessed with Moana, and I don't know if it's because it's the only movie that keeps my nephew quiet. So I'm a huge fan of Moana right now. So shout out to whoever created Moana, and thank you for that one.
The Moana fan club is going to send you a nice letter for sure.
I'm okay with that. If The Rock wants to send me a signed letter, I'm cool with that too.
You know what? I'm sure. So Dwayne, if you're listening to the podcast, just to hook the show, please just help me out here. That was good, man. Good stuff. That was easy actually for you. You got them both done in 30 seconds. I should probably give you a pass on the second one, but I'm not going to. So the second one, this is a little more straightforward. The single food that you absolutely cannot live without.
Oh man! So everybody says that if I was to be famous and we were to reboot a TV show, it would be Friends, and I would be Joey. I love pizza. I can't live without it. I know I'm a fitness person, but if you put a pie in front of me, I'm going to eat that pie and probably order another pie and eat that one too. I can't help it. I'm Joey. I'm goofy. I'm a little silly. I love food. I'm Italian. Sue me.
And the shame of it is you live in a place where there's no pizza.
I know. And you know what's funny? I love Philadelphia, but you go to Chicago, New York, anywhere else, and I'm like, oh, I like this pizza so much more. But honestly, you could put Elio's on the table, and I'll be like, fine, give it to me.
Oh, there you go. See, there you go. And what's amazing to me is it's so easy to find a great cheesesteak anywhere in South Philly, and it's much more difficult to find a really good pizza.
Oh, it's so hard. There's a
Isn't
place
that
called
crazy?
Slice, and that's about the only place I go to anymore for pizza. But like you said, yeah, cheesesteaks all over the place. And being from Philadelphia, I actually hate cheesesteaks because like they're just they push it down your throat so much, and you get sick of it.
Do I have to edit that out so your fan base doesn't want to kill you?
Nah, you know what? I tell you the truth, like they always do these things where you see like, what do you like better when you go to Philly, Pats or Geno's? And if you ever look at the comments, all the Philadelphia people are like, don't go to either one. They're
Don't go to
just
either one.
tourist traps. Yeah,
Yeah.
like we're all kind of in the same boat. We'll eat a cheesesteak, but we're not like every Friday we have to have one, you know?
Yeah, I got you. No, I got you. So I'm gonna give a shameless plug for my kid. My son Andrew is a chef over at Stateside Vodka in Philadelphia. So
Okay, yeah, we know them.
they're relatively new, and the story is kind of cool. 4 guys sitting around a table having drinks one night. One of the guys says, "Hey, you guys want to make vodka?" And the other 3 went, "Okay," and
Yeah.
the place was born. So he's the chef over there, and he said the same thing about the pizza in Philadelphia. We were out having dinner with him last Christmas, and we were talking about like where do you go to eat. And he said the first thing he says is, "I don't go to pizza places."
Yeah, they're just awful.
And I used to do business in Philadelphia 30 years ago.
Yeah.
It was the same thing then. So it's
Yeah.
just kind of crazy, man. It really is.
I
But
don't know what it is, but I do know Stateside Vodka because they're always doing like events and promotions. So that's awesome. I didn't know that.
yeah, anytime you stop in there, ask. My son's name is Andrew. Just stop in and ask
Okay.
him. Tell him that I sent you. Tell him specifically tell him I sent you to collect the money.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. I can do that. I'm Italian. I know how to handle that.
Get away with that. You might get some vodka out of it. We'll see.
Yeah, it works for me.
So cool. So Jesus, pizza. That's it, huh? So
Yeah.
I know what to do to say thank you. I'm going to send you a box of Elio's frozen pizza.
Oh, sounds good.
Easy. I know you'll probably eat it. So Joe, anything else you want to tell my audience? Anything they need to know? You got anything coming up other than the battle royale?
I mean, I have the Battle Royale hopefully coming up. Let's hope I make the top 5 for that. I have that whole Pepe's Picks Instagram. Go check that out. That's our fantasy football page where we do little tips, tricks, advice, stuff like that to help you win your fantasy football league. But outside of that, no, just kind of keep an eye on my Instagram, I guess, for JPEP20 because any projects I do, like this thing with the Mile 22 movie, it always stems straight through my Instagram.
Very cool. So that's JPEP20 on Instagram.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Folks, look him up. If you didn't see the TKO where he crushed it and set the record, you need to go watch that. And I'm going to look for your facial expression when they told you you were ready. It was your turn next. I got to catch that. I can't believe I missed that. I usually see.
Yeah, it's funny. It's worth it. Now it's funny. Now I'm cool with it.
Now it's okay, right? So all good.
Yeah, $50,000 makes that easy.
I bet. Yeah, that's what. You can tolerate yourself a lot more for 50 grand.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
So listen, Joe, I really appreciate you taking time today. I know you're busy, and I will definitely have you back when you qualify and win. We know you're gonna. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. Sounds good, man. I'm all in.
And thanks everybody for listening today and tuning in. This is Coach Phil Houston on the 4 Pillar Fitness Podcast. You can reach me at coachphilhouston@gmail.com, Coach Phil Houston on Instagram, and of course through the podcast homepage. So please check us out. If you listen on iTunes, drop me a 5-star rating so other folks can find us as well. Thank you very much for being with us today, and we are out.